Call to order the City of Gerald public hearings and regular called City Council meeting Tuesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is a roll call. We have one member absent. We want to have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilwoman Clausen.
Dearly Father, we give you thanks for our opportunity to serve the citizens of Gerald. We're all grateful for our recent Thanksgiving celebrations and you returning us back to routine safely. Lord, please continue to watch over us as we begin our Christmas season. May we have a joyful celebration at our very merry Gerald and reflect on you. Continue to guide us in our service, and may all of our decisions be a reflection of your will for our city. In your name we pray. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comments. We do have one. Jenny Roberts Axelrod. Would like to come up?
I was trying to figure out on all of the agenda items which ones, and I just kept looking for Miss Allison's name. It's my understanding that y'all are going to be voting on whether or not to approve the Walmart plan, and my hope is that you will approve the Walmart plan. It will be approved completely. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda items. I believe there's one we would like to table.
would like to have a motion to remove 3.1 from the consent agenda.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor and a second to remove consent agenda item 3.1.
Why are we doing 3.1?
To 3.2.
It's 3.2. I got it backwards. I need to make a motion to remove 3.2 from the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to remove consent agenda item 3.2. No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Unanimous. Okay. I'll accept a motion to approve agenda item 3.1.
I make a motion to approve 3.1.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on. Agenda item 4, regular agenda items. Agenda item 4.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt resolution 2025-1202-1, establishing an increase to the Texas Municipal Retirement System employee contribution rate from 7 to 8% for all TMRS eligible City of Gerald employees. Mr. Hernandez.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Currently, city employees contribute 7% to the Texas Municipal Retirement System, or TMRS, with a city match up to 2-to-1. Texas legislation passed House Bill 3161, allowing municipalities to adopt an 8% employee contribution effective September 1st, 2025. I conducted a survey, even though it was not necessary among the employees, and I would say 30 out of 31 favor the change. They would like to contribute more to the retirement. Like I said, it was not a requirement, but it would make no sense for me to present something that it was going to force on them. And I felt that was important to voice their opinion to you. Currently, the city, your question might be, how this affect the city? The city currently is paying a total contribution of $169 and change towards the TMRS. This will represent an increase of $24,000 to what we currently contributing to the match. I don't see that increase affecting the business, the finances of the city at all. We can afford that and provide better retirement better opportunity for retirement for the employees.
How many employees do we?
Currently, we have 31, including PD.
What is the county and such?
Hmm?
How much is the county?
Right now, TMS for everybody is 7%, and anybody can, every municipality can opt to allow the 8%.
Counties are a different retirement system than TMRS, so it's not the same, it's not comparable.
Right, but I'm looking at where we would be losing employees too.
I'm sorry, okay.
That's.
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking what the.
No, I just,
No,
I'm looking at the biggest competitor we have here is county, so.
How many long-term employees do we have? Like, who's been, I mean, how many have been here the longest?
The longest, I would say, 3 for sure,
Mm-hmm.
and they voted in favor of.
They all were in
Yeah, they
favor of
voted
it.
in favor of increase.
I'm just curious.
As a matter of fact, one of them was the one who brought to my attention the new legislation. And
Was there any reason why the one didn't want it?
no, I didn't, it was pretty much, the vote was, are you in favor or not? I did not sit down and ask why not.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve the ordinance 2025-120201, adopting 8% TMRS employee contribution rate to the city of Gerald.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 4.2, discussion consideration of possible action regarding the development agreement for property collectively referred to as Cardinal Farms Development as described in detail in the development agreement. Ms. Bell?
Thank you, sir. Staff is actually requesting that this item be tabled. We got an update from the developer's engineer or attorney earlier this week, and we haven't had time to vet it to our attorney review with staff. So we're bring it back to the engineer, hopefully.
I'll make a motion to table 4.2.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. All right, at this time, we're gonna move agenda item 4.6, up ahead here. So agenda item 4.6, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a development agreement for property described as 150.92 acre tract of land located in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, in Williams County, Texas, said 150.92 acre tract, being all of that of 150.977 acre tract of land recorded in document number 2002-46521 in the official public records of Williamson County, Texas. Ms. Bell.
Thank you, sir. City Council, we have seen a lot on this development recently. They did an annexation request, land use change, zoning request, and we have been working on a development agreement with them recently. They did request a transition to a utility agreement just to enter an agreement with the city showing that we would provide water, wastewater services to them upon completion of certain CIP projects. The subject property is on the map before you. they did complete a feasibility study, allocating 750 LUEs of water and wastewater capacity, for a residential development. When they transitioned to the industrial type use, they did say that any unused LUEs, which is actually built into our ordinance, so this is, just emphasizing that any unused LUEs will come back to the city for water and wastewater. They did already complete their comp plan and land use plan amendment as part of the project milestones. They did, partially complete their annexation. The annexation paperwork is pending recordation with the county upon approval of the utility agreement, and then their zoning was completed earlier this year also. So the remaining items that they would have to complete for the utility agreement is a preliminary plat, infrastructure construction plans, and a final plat. I imagine that probably this item will come back to you for these milestones based on when they can get utilities to their site. It might be extended out for a year to 18 months, depending on how long it takes to get electric and gas over there. And then, of course, extension of water and wastewater facilities as needed to support the development. The transition from the development agreement to the utility agreement, they are in compliance with the zoning code as stated. They did their zoning change, they did their land use change. And so they felt that some of the items that were being requested, we are updating the noise ordinance. They are gonna be in compliance with the noise ordinance. That's not gonna be an issue, but some of the other items, were just not overreaching, but a lot of negotiation back and forth, for a project that's already in compliance with the ordinances as they are right now. So they did send this to city staff last week to request that it be transitioned to utility agreement instead of the development agreement. And then staff is available for questions. We do have a representative here, and the city attorney is available for questions as well.
So, changing it from development to the utility, so does that mean that the development's off the table, or what did we ask they felt we were reaching?
The berm, not necessarily the berm, but some of the items like for example, the berm, that's more of like a site development plan, and we don't have a requirement in there for a berm for industrial type use or commercial type use. We are gonna start working on our zoning ordinances in the early next year, first quarter, second quarter, so that we have a requirement for some sort of screening or separation between industrial type use, commercial type use, residential type use, so that's already built into the ordinance. So when they come in and do these type of projects development, then that's already a requirement that's built into there. So it's kind of hard for us to say you're required to do this when it's not built into our zoning ordinance. We don't have that requirement already in there.
So if this is a utility agreement and we work on those ordinances, would they be in effect for the development agreement? Or does it lock it in as is?
When would they be vetted for any type of changes to the zoning ordinance basically before they're?
Usually 245 kicks in. So language in there. For sure, when they file the preliminary plat, they're locking your 245 vesting. And unless there's language, I have to read, I forgot if we kept that language in the utility agreement or not to create 245. Because that language is in the development agreement to create 245. Also, the utility agreement, since it's really it's more reflective of what the project at this point is looking like, because you're negotiating with them on their utilities. I don't see any circle. Yeah, they'll be locked into the 245 vesting when they file the preliminary plat. Is the language, the development agreements, we would have had that language in there, the utility services not. So when they file the plat is when they're locked into vesting. Does that make sense?
So, a preliminary plat is basically like, here's our lot layout showing official property lines, any dedication of right of way, any easements. Usually if it's a subdivision, it'll show like the property line for each individual lot, streets, drainage, stuff like that, because this will probably stay as one large lot. it would be a fairly simple preliminary plat, they're just gonna have to show easements, public utility easements, and dedication of right of way along County Road 308, which is the road that they're adjacent to, the county road.
So what's the earliest we can expect that?
That really depends on how long it takes their engineer. Probably preliminary plats for that type of lot right now, I would imagine would be about 4 to 5 months to get completed. And then we go into infrastructure, so any public infrastructure that they would be required to install, water, wastewater, then we review plans for that. Once that's installed, accepted by the city, then they move to their final plat, and then that gets recorded with the county. After that, then they can start with their building site, grading, building plans, stuff like that.
So I was reading, there's an either or, are we still there? I noticed it said residential or potential data center. So are we still in that either or category? I mean, I thought the residential was off the table.
That's probably gonna depend on their end user, economy, so if they, can you expand upon that, Dalton, on
Yeah.
what would trigger a transition back to some sort of residential?
So I think that was more language that our council put in there, just as a safety precaution, but we have not spoken to any home builders since January of this year. So that helps you on the understanding on the marketing side of it.
Okay.
When do you anticipate filing that preliminary plat?
As soon as our engineers can get that completed, so I think in second quarter of 26. Any other questions?
Jorge, I had expressed a concern on toxic materials, et cetera. Are we moving forward with what we discussed?
We have an ordinance that already stated that any has to be pre-treated, any discharge.
Is that
In our ordinance.
in addition to what our attorney had suggested, or is it in place of what our
It
attorney?
is in a place already in ordinances. Anyone?
Yeah, there's already a
There's
wastewater
already an ordinance
treatment.
saying that any discharge has to be pre-treated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing that we have to do right now. It's already, they have to wait by it.
Thanks, Dalton.
Thank you.
And to expand upon that, if we do find that there's discharge that doesn't meet our standards, there is already a clause in there that states that we can go over there and turn off water supply, do what we need to disconnect them from our sewer system, so that we don't have to, okay.
How long will that take to update our zoning?
It's a pretty heavy lift. We're gonna finish the downtown master plan and then use the same firm to start the zoning ordinance, so we probably will get started on it in February. I can't tell you for sure that this would be completed prior to filing that preliminary plat, but moving forward, we'll have some better ordinances in place.
Does it make a difference that it was listed as a development agreement on the agenda and it's going through as a service agreement?
I did catch that after the agenda was posted, and I called Christina to verify, and she said we just have to make it very clear during this presentation that it is a utility agreement and not a development agreement.
And your motion would
It
take
also
that
reflects
into,
that.
To include the,
yeah. Because it's kind of less inclusive, so you can have that.
just want to make sure it's covered on the agenda. Thank you.
quick question, and
Yes, sir.
it's for council. Heard twice a question about the zoning, how soon that can be done. What is the concern with the current zoning? Is it because we didn't have these things in place that we're trying to play catch up, or? I just want to know what the concern, question on how soon zoning is going to be updated as such.
If it was possible to update the zoning so that they would comply with what we expect that
To
they're
put
going
in
to
a
do in
bar.
the future.
To put in a bar or something like that.
I guess playing devil's advocate though, is it fair to try to drag feet on a development that they started in good faith based on the current zoning that we have in place? So, I mean, I understand there's a lot of song and dance to the public, but as we're pointed out by the spell there, there's no teeth to it, so. I don't like it any more than the neighbors and citizens that were, but I don't know that I feel comfortable giving it the appearance that we're trying to maybe drag it a little bit so we can hurry and get some stuff in. I mean, what does that tell other builders coming in? So, that's my 2 cents.
Noted.
Any further questions?
I'm good.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the utility service agreement as read in the caption by the mayor based on the staff's recommendations and findings.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Okay. Agenda item 4.3, discuss and take possible action to vacate right-of-way on property described as being a .0548 acre tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, in the city of Gerald, in Williamson County, Texas, being a portion of Hugh Smith Lane, formerly known as Williamson County Road number 313 and Cemetery Road, a variable width public right-of-way dedicated by use and occupation. Ms. Spell.
Thank you, sir. Council, you've had seen this request before. This is a request to vacate a portion of Hugh Smith Lane to realign it for the Cornhill Business Park Phase 3 development. You can see on the screen before you the red portion of the road to be vacated. The subject property is composed of, or comprised of approximately 0.548 acres. The existing configuration of the roadway does run from east into west. A portion of the Hugh Smith Lane right-of-way to be vacated to allow for the road to be realigned as part of the proposed commercial development. I'm going to go back to the map. The proposed roadway realignment, if you recall, is to bring it from east to west configuration to north to south configuration to connect to 313 up there with a traffic signal. The developer is here for any questions, and staff is available for questions. And before we get to the motion page, I do want to, we have our motion set up to be conditionally approved while we work on a wastewater resolution between us, the developer, and Center and Noise. The Cornhill lift station that's over there now was considered to be a temporary solution for for commercial development in that area. We're working with the 2 other entities to propose a permanent solution for that area so that we can alleviate some of that, some of the stress on the Sonterra mud collection system. We need to get all of that area reallocated to the city wastewater line. So in order to allow the developer to keep moving forward with their project, the motions before you are conditionally, recommendation to conditionally approve, based on the approval of an agreement between the city, Walmart, and the Center and Noise detailing contributions towards a wastewater related improvement.
Will we see that agreement between the entities before its approval?
Before the agreement, yes.
I see on here, the staff recommends, are there any negatives to
To the,
this, yes, any negatives, any?
uh,
As well as positive, but
Yeah.
any negative, I mean,
are there any potential negatives to
Yes.
approving the roadway abandonment? Or,
yes.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, are we giving up anything in the long term, or?
I mean, you're gaining better, a wider roadway that's better, in better conditions on this particular request. I mean, overall with this project, you're getting improved roadways with, a traffic signal at the intersection, or at the driveway intersection of the gas station and this proposed development. They're gonna do improvements to FB Shortner Road as well. I mean, Houston Lane in its current condition is not an excellent roadway. You know, they're not gonna replace all of it, they're just gonna replace or realign the portion that they're abandoning, and then it'll be a new roadway that'll be dedicated to the city.
Thank you.
I'll motion to conditionally approve of ordinance number 2025-1202-02 as read and captioned by the mayor based on the staff's recommendations and findings and subject to the city manager approval of an agreement between the city, Walmart, and Center and Noise detailing contributions towards wastewater related improvements necessary to serve the project.
One second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous? Moving on to agenda item 4.4, discussion, consideration, possible action to changing zoning from agriculture to highway commercial on property generally located at the southeast intersection of Hughes Smith Lane and F.B. Schwetner Road. Ms. Phil?
Thank you, sir. Council, again, you've seen this request before. This request is to, change zoning from agriculture to a C3 zoning on property generally referred to as the Flint Hill Business Park Phase 3. You can see on the map before you, on the left-hand side, almost the entire city limits with, the circled area being where the proposed development is, and then a zoomed-in map on the right-hand side showing that the property to the north is already zoned C3, and the applicant is requesting zoning change of C3 for the lot to the south and the proposed roadway. Subject property is approximately 14.23 acres. P&Z did consider this request on October 8th, and a request for annexation was considered by this body on October 14th. The city infrastructure, as we have discussed previously, would be wastewater and streets. The water services are to be provided by Gerald Shortner Water Supply Corporation. So just a reminder, when a property is annexed, it is automatically assigned a zoning designation of agriculture. The requester, the annexation requester can request a change in zoning after the annexation has been considered. The land use plan that was adopted in December of 2021 designates this parcel as regional commercial, which would allow for a commercial office, business park, multifamily, and planned unit development. So this request is compatible with the land use plan. Existing land uses in the vicinity are vacant land to the north, residential to the south, vacant land or farmland to the east, and vacant land or farmland to the west. The proposed layout you can see on the screen before you, this is the portion they are requesting to rezone, this is the portion of the roadway they're requesting to abandon, this is the realignment of Hughes Smith Lane, and then the smaller inset on the right-hand side is the full development or full proposed development. You may recall that we do have to send out notification within 200 feet of the proposed zoning change. The only property that is within 200 feet of this proposed zoning change and in city limits is the property to the north that is highlighted in green. And we did get a recommendation for approval from that property owner.
What's the box in red?
That's the subject property, the one who's requesting the zoning change.
I don't know why I thought it was left.
Would this be a conditional approval as well?
Yes, and this one does have the wording for conditional approval. And then of course, staff is available for questions, and we do have a representative from the developer side here.
Questions?
All right. No questions?
Motion to conditionally approve of ordinance number 2025-1202-03 as read in the caption by the mayor based on staff's recommendations and findings, subject to the city manager approval of an agreement between the city, Walmart, and the Center and Noise detailing contributions toward wastewater-related improvements necessary to serve the project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous? Okay, remember the agenda item 4.7. Actually, no, sorry, 4.5. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a development agreement for Cornhill Business Park. Phase 3 on property described as being a tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, in the city of Gerald in Williams County, Texas. All of Lot 3 and 4, Block A, Cornhill Business Park, Phase 2. In addition to the city of Gerald, according to the plat thereof, recorded in document number 203-014-632. Plat records of Williams County, Texas, and being a portion of a called 19.217 acre tract of land described in the warranty deed with vendor's lien to Tate Endeavors LLC, recorded in document number 202-115-7525 in the official public records of Williams County, Texas, being all of a called 14.238 described as tract 1 and a special warranty gift deed to Jacqueline Allison, recorded in document number 2008-086839, being a portion of Hugh Smith Lane. Please spell.
Thank you, sir. That's a pretty long description, just want to explain that. It's because we have a portion of this property that's already platted, a portion of this property that's requested being in the right of way, and then a portion of this property that's a portion of a larger tract. So we have to include the legal descriptions for all three of those in the legal description for the plat, so that when it's filed, they can, for historical reasons, they can backtrack how this subdivision was created from what surveys, from what abstracts. So it's just so it's easier for title companies when they search. Again, you have seen this request before development agreement. Subject property is on the screen before you. Water service will be the Gerald Schwertner Water Supply Corporation. Wastewater capacity is approximately 105 LUEs. The Chapter 3 agreement for EDC, they are We haven't seen an official agreement, so we do anticipate that they may request to be reimbursed for wastewater impact fees or wastewater costs. Highlights for this development agreement are submittal and concurrent review of applications for annexation and zoning, which the developer has done, submittal and concurrent review of applications for preliminary plat, final plat, roadway vacation, and site plan development permits within 30-day review. We have the preliminary plat, which is what you are going to consider after this item. Final plat will come once the infrastructure has been decided upon, once we have that agreement that we've been discussing earlier this evening. Approval of the development agreement, final reading of the annexation and zoning ordinance, as we stated, all of that is contingent upon the wastewater agreement for this proposed area, or for this site. Purchase of the property adjacent by the developer, and approval of applications for preliminary plat, final plat, roadway vacation, and site development plans, site development permits. Again, your motion options are going to be contingent upon the agreement between the city, Walmart, and the Center and Mud, and then city staff again, and the developer does have a representative here if you have questions on this.
Questions?
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the development agreement as read and captured by the mayor, based on staff's recommendations and subject to city manager approval of an agreement between the city, Walmart, and Santerre Mud, detailing contributions towards wastewater-related improvements necessary to serve the project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.7, discussion, consideration, and possible action on preliminary plat for Cornhill Business Park Phase 3 on property described as being a tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey. Abstract number 54 in the city of Gerald, Williams County, Texas. All being all of Lot 3 and 4 Block A, Cornhill Business Park Phase 2. In addition to the city of Gerald, according to the plat thereof, recorded in document number 20301, 4632, plat records of Williams County, Texas, and being a portion of a called 19.217 acre tract of land described in warranty deed with vendor's lien to Tate Endeavors LLC, recorded in document number 202-1157525, in the official public records of Williams County, Texas, being all of the called 14.238, described as tract 1 in the special warranty gift deed to Jacqueline Allison, reported in document number 200-808-6839, being a portion of Hugh Smith Lane. Ms. Spell.
Thank you, sir. Again, long description because we have to encompass all of those properties that are considered as part of this development. Subject property is on the screen before you. There was a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission to City Council, as required by City of Gerald's Code of Ordinances, Section 3.09.03. This is also a requirement per Local Government Code, Section 212.0091. The Planning and Zoning Commission does have to make a recommendation to this body prior to consideration for preliminary plat. So P&Z makes a recommendation to City Council makes final decision. Again, background, subject property is 27.214 acres. Application for preliminary plat was received in August. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the rezone request at the August 26th meeting. The applicant requested to postpone the preliminary plat approval prior to the October 8th P&Z meeting. And that has to do with the existing Cornhill lift station. Staff, myself, was not aware that there was restrictions on that Cornhill lift station at the time that we considered that preliminary plat. About a week before it was supposed to be presented to P&Z is when I found out about it, and I asked them to table it so that we could work on a resolution with Center and Noise and the developer and city. So that's what we have been working on for the past 2 months. It's not a quick process, it's somewhat of a long process to determine how big of a wastewater line you need, where it needs to go, who's gonna have, capacity in it, how much it's gonna cost for each entity. So, and moving on that timeline, council did approve the voluntary annexation request at the October 14th, 2025 meeting. And then tabled the development agreement, the reason request, and the right-of-way abandonment at the October 14th and the November 4th meeting, and then to be reconsidered this evening. So while the submitted preliminary plat in its current form, because we don't have the final design for the wastewater, does not meet ordinances or local government code, myself feel confident that they will come to, they will be able to design based after we come to that agreement with the Center and Noise and Walmart and the city for the wastewater line. They're committed to the site. I know that they'll do what they need to get the wastewater line design, capacity figured out, their contribution to capacity, and then amend their preliminary plat, their infrastructure plans based on that. Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this request at the meeting last week on November 25th, I believe. And again, staff is available for questions, and we do have a representative from the developer side. Actually, we have multiple representatives from the developer side.
Any questions?
And this one's conditional as well upon.
Correct.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the Cornhill Business Park Phase 3 preliminary plat with the condition that outstanding comments be resolved prior to any additional development applications being submitted to the city. That's the right one? That's not
We
the one.
updated it after a meeting. Can you read it off the screen? I'm so sorry.
Sorry, good. I'll make a motion to approve with conditions of Cornhill Business Park Phase 3 preliminary plat as read in the caption by the mayor, subject to city manager approval of an agreement between the city, Walmart, and the Sonterra Mud detailing contributions toward wastewater-related improvements necessary to serve the project.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 4.8. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to authorize a delegation consisting of city manager, the mayor, and Alderman Place 3 to engage the Williams County Emergency Services District, ESD number 5, to begin renegotiation of the existing interlocal agreement between the city of Gerald and Williams County ESD number 5 for the allocation of sales tax revenue. Mr. Hernandez.
The city has a sales tax allocation agreement with the ESD 5 that was executed on May 25th, 2021. And under section 2.6, this agreement terminates on May 2029. It has an automatic review for 15 years unless either party provides written notice at least 6 months prior to expiration of intent to negotiate new or traditional terms. State law caps the combined local sales tax to 2%. Under the current city ESD agreement, the city receives 1% of the sales tax, and the ESD receives 1% of any sales tax on taxable items. If there's no allocation agreement, state law provides that when annexation will cause the combined rate to exceed 2%, the ESD rate is reduced, and the controllers, they have a magic formula, withholds amount from the city allocation to protect the ESD prior to revenue. This does not mean the city will actually keep the 2% because the controller may withhold a portion of the city allocation and remit it to the ESD to make the ESD whole. For the city to fully collect the 2% sales tax in the area currently within the ESD 5, the city will generally need to de-annex the territory from the ESD under the health and safety code requirements. That would include a ESD board finding that the city served meet or exceed ESD service levels and require compensation procedures, or renegotiate the agreement to allow fully city recollection. Because multiple developers have expressed interest in projects that will materialize increased sales tax revenues and attract additional development, staff is requesting council to authorize a small delegation consisting of the mayor, councilwoman place 3, and city manager to initiate discussion with the ESD 5 and the Williamson County Commissioners Court and report back to council.
I'll make a motion to approve. Let's see, we're on this one now. I move to authorize a delegation consisting of the city manager, the mayor, and alderwoman place 3 to engage with Williamson County ESD number 5 and the Williamson County Commissioners Court for the purpose of initiating discussions and negotiations regarding the sales tax allocation agreement and to report findings and recommendations back to city council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.9, discussing consideration and possible action to adopt 2025 City of Gerald Design Criteria Manuals for drainage, streets, and utilities, replacing all previous versions. Mr. Hernandez.
Council, Mayor, last city council, we workshopped the new code for the street design, drainage, and city standards, drainage, street, and utility standards. To highlight again the benefit, we're adopting and unifying everything in the 2025 framework. We consistent authority, the city engineer is the approving official. Update reference to TXDOT, ASHTOT, TCQ, ITE, IPC, and Atlas 14 drain data. Standardize the GIS as built requirement. Update coordinate between the street, drainage, and utilities. So now every part of the book has a relation to the other. Update and strengthen submittal analysis documentation. Our city code last time was reviewed was in 2022, and normally we used to anything that we miss, we make reference to other cities. I seen reference to Austin, to Round Rock, to Temple, and this way now we have a standard that everybody will follow. If we record this on the one place, and we pretty much take control of how we want to shape the city from this point on.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 City of Gerald Design Criteria Manuals, drainage, street, utility to take effect immediately and to supersede all previous versions and conflicting standards.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Okay, agenda item 4.10, discussion, consideration, and possible action on master service agreement between GKW Engineering and the City of Gerald for a transportation master plan. Mr. Hernandez.
This item was already approved in the budget, and we have a representative from the company GKW. A transportation master plan basically is looking into the future of our roadway system. It will help us to to have a seat at the table with TxDOT and county plans. Right now, county has its own true fair plan. We don't have anything to counter, so we're pretty much at the mercy of the county. This tool will allow us to sit down with them and tell them what direction the city needs to go, where they need to be improved, and have a sound discussion of what improvement are required at that point. It also will help us to apply for grants, and as I mentioned before, there was a grant, the Safe Street for All, that we missed the opportunity because we did not have a master plan in place. Now with this, any grant like it, we can go and apply and say, hey, we have a master plan, and we can take that money and make improvements to our road system. If we have some representatives for GKW, they can elaborate more into what the master plan entitles, and also they can introduce themselves and give you a little bit of the background.
My name is Eric Carranza. I'm in GKW along with Sasha Bandera. So yeah, just like Jorge just mentioned, this master plan is gonna help us to plan ahead. So the city of Gerald, it's already showing a lot of potential for growth, and with that growth, it's gonna bring a lot of traffic. So with this transportation master plan, like what you said, if Williamson County or TxDOT, any recommendation of that, we can back it up with this transportation master plan. It's gonna help us for the grants. Obviously, this master plan is gonna go in phases. We are currently working on phase 1, which is public involvement. December 13th on the Christmas event, we're gonna be there collecting data from the people, from the citizens, and that's all I have to say right now.
One thing I want to add, the master plan is a piece of a bigger puzzle. We also have another plan, another MSA that I'm going to present, which is going to be incorporated into the master plan. It's an asset inventory. It will define how many lane miles of roadway we actually own and we have to maintain. It also will give us how many signs, how many stop signs, how many street nameplates have to be maintained out as well. And it will also provide some traffic counts that we will incorporate in the traffic transportation master plan.
How long does a study like that or a plan take to?
The master plan this wide, and because we don't have one done in the past, it can take up to a year.
Mhm.
And we're currently doing our downtown master plan.
We're currently doing a master
So,
plan.
kind of incorporate those
Once we get all these,
together.
when we get all these master plans, then we're gonna enact a comprehensive master plan that will encompass all the master plans into one, and then it will tie them all together. So one plan will not counter-affect the other plan.
Mhm.
I know there are some talks about, Gerald at one point have a road committee or something of that sort. Is that something we should consider? Having a little,
Robert, I think that's something that be incorporated in the master plan as well.
okay.
What was the intended, I'm sorry, I haven't dealt with the road committee before. What was the intended purpose for the road committee, do you know? You were
Just
involved?
have public input,
Okay.
kind of like when we were doing our downtown master plan, we had
Okay.
people
Okay,
giving their inputs and stuff like that. Road committee would just be picking a few members of the community to participate and something
Okay.
like that.
give some guidance and just, okay.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve the professional services agreement between the city of Gerald and Gonzalez, Capurias, and White Incorporated for the preparation of the City of Gerald Transportation Master Plan in the not to exceed amount of $365,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Okay, at this time we're going to adjourn into a workshop. All right, City of Gerald is now adjourned at 7:55 p.m. Agenda item 5.1, receive and discuss a presentation on proposed changes to Article 8.02 of the City of Gerald Ordinance regulating to noise regulations.
As you recall, we did provide a redline draft of the proposed noise ordinance changes to y'all at the last meeting. The current noise regulations are vague and lack sufficient enforcement mechanisms to address complaints. And with the increase in development activity, we and P&Z felt that stronger measures were needed to safeguard residents from nearby nuisances. The intent is to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of city residents. Staff reviewed noise regulations from multiple cities, Georgetown, Parker Heights, Temple, Belton, and presented the noise ordinances currently utilized by each of those municipalities to Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission did opt to adopt the Parker Heights ordinance as a baseline, and then they requested to provide some stricter restrictions on the decibel allowances, and enforcement should be under the police department. They also wanted to ensure the equipment was owned by the city and was calibrated according to manufacturer recommendations. So we did put some of that wording into the draft that you have in front of you this evening. There is a difference between the draft that was included in your packet and the draft that was included at your seat this evening. We did workshop this again with Planning and Zoning Commission last week. So kind of a lot of back and forth. Took it to P&Z, sent it to legal, took it to you guys, sent it back to legal, or took it to you guys just for you to review. Took it back to P&Z last week and had some additional questions. So the version that was on your countertop in front of your seat this evening was the most recent version after the workshop with P&Z last week. So after we sent their initial comments to the city attorney for review, she did make some recommendations, staying consistent with the neighboring communities in terms of the decibel levels for residential, commercial, and industrial use. We did get a recommendation that anything more restricted than that was fairly restricted for those types of uses. So industrial will stay at 70, commercial I believe is at 65, and residential is about 55. Did recommend keeping the nighttime decibel levels to standard practice from other cities. Remove the permits for relief for amplified sound. That's kind of built into like a special event permit anyways. And remove the requirement for an independent noise study. City Council, you guys workshopped this last week, or 2 weeks ago. So this is kind of like the time if you guys have any questions, clarifications, just open discussion on the proposed changes.
I will add that your noise ordinance is part of your police powers, not necessarily part of your zoning and land use ordinance, so with the concerns with the data center, they're gonna be subject to this, because once you adopt it, because of the police power, if that makes sense. Yep.
Did you see some of the questions that P&Z had in the sidelines on there?
No, I just,
I'm sorry. So I think the first one is on page 8. That's actually not for you, that'll be, we do have a question for a business owner who owns a sanitation business. What would your recommended time be for noise disturbance? We know that sometimes trucks run very early in the morning, especially during summertime, 6 a.m. Would that be an appropriate time to allow like trucks to come down a roadway?
We started at 6 a.m. That's the lunch time we get our serious discussion during the summer months.
Okay.
It's not, for sanitation, it's not uncommon to have 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And also because it's a season.
Yes, summertime and earlier, winter time, yeah. wastewater guys start at 6 a.m. in the morning, just because of the summer heat, and they were able to get a lot more done versus 7 to 4, they would work 6 to 3. So I think on page 9, sorry, Christina, since legal mentioned that this was more strict than what most cities would adopt, P&Z would like recommendations from legal on those exceeding noise limits on length of time.
So, well, looking at that in what we have.
Okay.
I'm primarily speaking residential. It's completely different for your commercial area.
Yeah, yes, I understand that, like you have some businesses that,
And they
sometimes you
prefer,
guys
the
will
business
exceed it
prefers you to be in and out. They don't want you to mix with their.
when they're not in operation, yeah, I understand, yeah.
So that could be as early as 3 a.m.
Yeah, I think I would be more concerned with, when the trucks would be going down residential streets, commercial.
But will it be defined accordingly in the noise ordinance to differentiate?
We didn't. There's no differentiation. It
But
was
based
just,
on what I'm saying, I mean, anyone doing that would be out of compliance.
This is a discussion just for
Oh,
council,
I thought
I'm
it
sorry.
was
It's
a workshop.
not
I thought it was a
open.
workshop.
It's workshop, but it's for council to discuss.
So would that be a distinction that we would need to make, or that's kind
Let me
of hard
look
to?
into it.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill, can you email me your questions specifically?
I will, and
And when you look into
I
it.
know it exists already, so I'll get, a sample, if you want. Okay. For y'all to look at and take it from there.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Christina, probably the majority of the stuff that P and Z asked us to vet through you were on page 9.
Give me a little time to
Yes,
get
ma'am.
into things and I'm just,
I noticed on here, one part of the changes is the no standard specific, DBA level from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Where before we had some in there.
You did have some for daytime hours.
Well, I'm just looking at the red line portion of it here. I'm understanding of it, I mean, we have no standard from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So somebody can just put a speaker on the property line and blare it out
Blare
as
it
loud
out.
as they possibly want to.
you can add on if you want it. I would say your nighttime.
Yeah, I'm just- I see some red lines out, I was just wondering,
Oh, the pizza.
because,
The 7 p.m.
Seaway.
The overnight, oh, down below,
Yeah.
that was taking out the C-weighted ones, to where you're just focusing on, so there's 2 different calibration standards. You can add those back in if you want on the top, they
I
can be the
was
exact
I was
same.
looking at 8.0,
So the first
8.02005.
Mhm.
Just says no standard specified for 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
You
So,
can specify one, I'd probably make it less restrictive than your overnight one,
For sure,
but,
but no standard
right.
Yeah,
allows
standard.
anything and everything.
The baseline ordinance from our guides didn't have any set standard for the daytime hours, so that's why we just went with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to have a standard between those times?
Yeah.
At least something?
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the loudest? Chainsaw, weed eater? I mean, what do we,
I think
That's
last time-
normally
I think
used.
last time we checked, 90 decibel was a lot more,
just, no, 70 is like a hair dryer.
like I right there.
so chainsaw be more, chainsaw weed eater? I mean, I've seen a lot of people weed eat stuff, so.
Yeah,
That might be why there's not one specified so much for daytime, is because of people in lawnmowers and you don't want your police call because somebody's mad that their neighbor's mowing earlier than they would like, but.
Makes sense too. I see both sides.
So you could just, if you want something in there, it'd be pretty generous, just so that it was just
Correct,
honest.
so at least have something in there, so.
If you would feel more comfortable.
Two neighbors are fighting.
Well, they're fighting.
Not fighting, but you
Yeah.
know, don't like each other, one's not.
What was this, what we researched, 90, was a blow dry or no more?
No, it's like 70.
On the previous,
70.
on the previous one, the industrial was 90 for daytime.
Yeah.
And you could
I'll have to check this.
put something that's,
We can do some research into that.
I mean, you should be allowed you wanna be, the sun's up.
I mean, yes, I see that point, but when a neighbor one street over is playing music loud enough in my house with all the windows closed, I can hear it during the day, and I think I can do that.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what that decibel level is. That's what we need to know.
It'll be 300 plus feet away, that's
Anything
gotta
over
be loud.
85 is anything over 85 is considered to be dangerous.
Is it 85?
110 is the threshold, a pain threshold, 120 second rock concert, 130 decibels, last time I read, is when the pain threshold start, when you start feeling discomfort in your ear.
Okay, let's say you can't get louder than a rock concert.
That's
So,
Definitely, I think we'll take a little bit of research from the staff to come up with a number, but I think, I understand, you wanna make it to a level that people can work in their house and not be out of
Disturbed.
compliance, but at the same time, you wanna keep it regulated that I don't get my radio blasted with Metallica and.
Well, that's what I'm fixing to start doing back, what are you talking about?
so you're gonna be the one blasting the music?
Back.
I did want to point out, I worked in Harker Heights for about 15 years. I worked very closely with code enforcement. Was in public works and planning. And I can tell you that we had maybe 3 phone calls in that period of time about a noise complaint during the day from neighbors. It's not very common. I know that it does happen, but usually a quick call to code enforcement or to the police department rectifies the situation without having to get the noise meter out. It's just not very common to see. And then, of course, if it happened between hours of 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., then it was the police department they had to call regardless, so it was, yeah.
Well, the Texas Penal Code is a decibel level of 85. A noise is presumed to be unreasonable if the noise exceeds a decibel level of 85. I mean, can we make the daily limit an 85? 7 to 10?
13, is that at all times or just after 10?
Daytime
Oh,
hours.
daytime, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Well, maximum 75 then for daytime, yeah. Maybe I have something there. Looks like Austin is 75 for amplified sound during daytime hours.
For residential or in general?
I mean, I think we could probably, just look at what we had before, 70, 80, and 90.
Yeah.
For your daytime usage.
Because we're keeping the same nighttime, correct?
I don't know, it goes somewhere between 75 and 80. Would be what I would think. Give them some leeway.
So I can't go outside with my hairdryer.
I don't know, they need to do
Oh, it
that.
might be like 65, but it's like a
Well,
lot.
I have a neighbor
It's like
complaining.
70.
Well, how loud is a dog barking? Or is this,
I don't know.
do we fall under the dogs? They're loud.
They are, but it depends on what type of dog too, you know.
Yeah. The smaller ones are higher pitched.
Dog barking is between 80 and 100, and then, lawnmower is between 85 and 100.
So 90 would be a sweet spot.
Think about protection, I don't wanna go over what the allowance is, because then, are we then creating the invitation?
No, it's over here, the sweet spot would be 90.
And I should cover both lawnmowers, weed eaters, and everything else. And chihuahuas, apparently, so.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go in that front, the Chihuahuas go 150 or more.
I can work with staff on looking into some reasonable daytime standards.
So do some research and we'll bring it back to them in January. Okay.
Works for me.
So if y'all have any questions or items that you want considered for this, will you please email them to either Jorge or I, before like December 20th?
Yes. Yes.
Is that it? No other comments, questions? Alright. Workshop is over. We're going to reconvene into open session. Very good. Jefferson Council is now back in session at 8:12 p.m. And with that, no further business, so we are also adjourned at 8:12 p.m.